Go.
Yeah, so obviously Dan Jackson was back at practice. Everyone knows that was a guy we took last year. And I know he was kind of, I think he was one of those pieces that was going to be a depth piece for us there in the season. Ends up breaking his leg, ends up, ending this season. Wingo, another piece that was kind of in and on the lineup for the last couple years. I think when he was in, there was a couple pieces. I think when he came in late last year, he looked decently. He looked like he could be a rotational piece on this D line. So these are two pieces, especially with the unknowns of, obviously safety positions, unknown with Kirby and Branch. But like I said, Kirby did post this morning on his Instagram year 5 loading. So for a team that did not draft any safety depth in the draft, like many thought we were gonna, for Kirby to be posting, he's excited about, coming back and playing. And then obviously with Rakestraw, out there at OTAs, nothing on his arm. I know he was out, he had surgery. I think it was on his pec or his shoulder or something last year. So him having no noticeable thing on his arm during these OTAs is huge news for, a secondary.
We all get that Rakestraw has been injured a whole lot throughout his career. What do you think was some of the information about him coming out that maybe, just maybe, this could be the year he comes forward and does something for the Lions?
I tell you what, if Rakestraw can stay healthy, that'll be a huge piece. I think everyone knows, he kind of had, during the preseason, the 1 year he actually was on the field. He had kind of a decent preseason. He showed some glimpses of, he could play some coverage in that nickel. And I was excited for him when we drafted him. I know when he was at Missouri, he was kind of one of their lead corners. And I think everyone was kind of scratching their head when we took him that early. But I thought it was a good piece after they drafted, Terrion Arnold. I thought this could be a combo for the Lions that could go a long way, long as they could stay on the field. So getting Rakestraw back, put him in the nickel, with him and Abney, potentially rotation pieces, and having Izine from Tampa Bay who can play safety as well. This team is set up to have a nice rotational secondary. I think everyone knows Terrion and DJ Reed are going to be your starting corners. So with that nickel being wide open with Amik, leaving, if Rakestraw can stay healthy, I think his ceiling could be a big piece of this defense.
Well, I mean, we get it. The Lions defense, especially the last couple of years, just been decimated by injuries. And now, to your point about Dan Jackson, maybe he's just depth piece, special teams guy. Seems like he's got some upside because really in college he only played 1 year, at least as a starter. But when you go on to Wingo as a rookie, this guy showed some flashes. Last year he played like 15 seconds in one game because of the ACL. Yeah, maybe the knee just wasn't ready to get back on the field. What kind of upside do you think we could realistically expect into the third season of Wingo's experiment?
I tell you what, when Wingo came back last year, you saw glimpses of him pushing that O line back. And I was really excited. I was like, oh, this guy, he was one of those pieces out of LSU that I was really excited for. Him and Miles Frazier's, they know each other pretty well. They played together. I was really happy when we drafted Wingo. I thought this was going to be a nice piece. And when he came, like I said, last year when he came back, you saw a glimpse of him in Aleem's absence, kind of coming back and doing things. So, if you can get Wingo back in that rotation and he can cause some disruption, I mean, he's a piece that I think the Lions, they feel like he has a ceiling. They don't want to let him go. Because he could have been one of those cuts with Pascal. I felt, with his injuries and, he's kind of in that same boat where he just couldn't stay healthy. So Lions believe in the guy. He's still on the team. And, to see him and Rakestraw and Dan, Jackson back out there at OTAs and working out is a good sign. And let's just knock on wood, man, and pray to the football gods and sacrifice whatever we got to sacrifice that these guys stay healthy and that Lions stay healthy for the season. Because I think that's the only thing that can deter the season is, everyone knows, Lions have been one of the most injury-riddled teams in the NFL. So, if we can do whatever we got to do, pray to the football gods that this team stay healthy, I think we have a really good shot at being really, really good this year.
All right, Hutch Jr., as always, I want to thank you for getting this information over to us. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everywhere they can find you, keep up with you, and all the great things you do for the Lions fandom.
Yeah, as always, you guys can find me on here. Dan, thanks for having me on. You can also find me on Twitter at SuperfanHutch. I also have a new Facebook page, Kneecap Chronicles. Make sure if you guys have a Facebook, go over, drop a like, show me a follow on there. I'm posting updated Lion stuff is there.
All right. If there is more breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, you would be so kind. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all those buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.